Ship's log, Celestial Day 218.249.10. The storm swept has just emerged from the drift in the Pilotau system, which is where Utopia, the headquarters of the Risen Watchers, is supposedly located. We think we've picked up a settlement on the planet Pyla, which is the only habitable world in this system, and we're about to head there as soon as we can figure out a good way to get in there without triggering their defenses. Hello and welcome, I am Scrapperlock, and this is Starforged Alpha Cluster. We are with Krista Sutton, our main character, and she is looking for Bandit. So what we found out after doing a bunch of research trying to find the planet Orcus is that Bandit is a guy who is the only survivor of a group of mercs who went out to find the missing survey team that went to Orcus and never came back. And he returned with some sort of prophetic vision that made him the leader of the Risen Watchers, who are now sort of following this prophesied leader. There's also a dark prophecy about him as well, which we will get into as we go through this. And so Krista has flown to this system, the Pyla system, where on the planet Pyla is a kind of a derelict. I'm actually going to probably not run it as a derelict because it's inhabited by people, and this is where she's supposed to find Bandit. So, before we get started, I want to mention a couple of things. The first one is this is a re-recording of an episode. I've basically did a 30-minute episode and I've decided to retcon it. I'm not at all happy with it. And it really doesn't have anything to do with the hits and the misses, although, of course, you know, the misses did force me to, let me delete all this, did force me to make some Oracle rolls. But the real problem, hopefully this won't happen this time, is I was just getting, I don't know, GM block, writer's block on the oracles. You know, something would happen and it would say, you know, somebody makes a demand of you, and I'd be like, well, based on the narrative, I have no idea what the demand would be. Let's roll action and theme. Got nothing. Let's roll a story complication. Nothing. Let's roll descriptor focus. Whatever it was coming up with, just I couldn't figure out how to make it fit. I just could not. And you know, that's on me. Just not having the creativity at that moment, and hopefully the same thing won't happen to me this time. I'm getting ready to go on a trip to visit my family, and as I've mentioned in an earlier video, this video will be posted ahead of time, scheduled ahead of time on YouTube, so it'll be probably coming out around the day I expect to return, give or take, from my trip. But as it's a driving trip and it's a situation with my family, it's not just a vacation, there's some stuff going on. It's possible that I may have to extend the trip. So if there's a break after this, it doesn't mean that I got, you know, writer's block and stopped playing. It just means I haven't been able to get back to it because my trip is taking longer than I expected. What I'm thinking is that hopefully whatever writer's block I have while I'm away, the break will sort of allow the field to lie fallow and refertilize, and when I come back I'll have all kinds of cool ideas. But hopefully we won't have the same problem that I had the last time. Now, I want to mention a couple of other things that I decided last time. One is I'm not happy with the way I'm generating random locations here. Now, some of this is just, you know, the movement through space from one place to another. But I feel like these planets are all too close together. And I'm not going to change anything. I'm not going to move anything around. But I think we need to generate more distant worlds. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to, from now on, if I want to, like, somebody gives me a location, you know, let's say when he tells us, we get here and Bandit tells us where Orcus is, I'm not gonna randomly roll something in this sector or whatever. What I'm gonna do is I'm going to maybe roll a d20 or 2d10, something like that, and we'll randomly pick a direction using 1d6 around here, and it'll be 20 hexes away in that direction. Or maybe I'll ask, is it in another sector, or what have you. We'll use the oracle for that. But I want to try to generate some greater distances. Now, it's possible if you rolled 2d10, we could still roll a 2. But if you remember right, this was so close, I was like, I'm not undertaking a journey because it's just 2 hexes. And where are we going to stop? Multiple times in 1 hex? The hexes are only 1 light year apart. Now, that's partly my fault because I have tried to sort of really hyper-specify the positions. And really with Starforged, you don't need to do that. You can just make it much more abstract. But my brain doesn't work that way. I don't like abstractions. I like specificity like this, hexes within hexes, and light year distances, and so on and so forth. So in order to accommodate that, I'm going to start rolling 2 or even 3d10 to see, or 3d8, something like that, to see how far away is the next planet or the next location. So that's one thing. And then the other thing is I've been kind of messing up with gather information. Each time I've done it and gotten a strong hit, the system automatically produces, and let me just show you this so that you can, like, I'll just add like plus 111 to it so that you can see when you get a strong hit, it automatically generates a story clue. And my habit has been to press this button and then go with whatever the story clue says. It evokes a personal memory. But the gather information was probably not something about a personal memory. I was probably asking, where is Orcus? Right? Now I could say, okay, she has a personal memory of hearing where it is. But sometimes it doesn't have anything to do with this. When you get a strong hit, or even a weak hit, you're discovering the information. So several times in the last episode, she got strong hits for gathering information to find Orcus, and instead of finding where it was, I got a story clue that it was about some person, and okay, so Bandit knows where it is. So now we got to go on a quest to find Bandit, which ends up making the whole thing a little frustrating, and unnecessarily so, because really, we should have already found the location based on the rolls that I made. So I'm going to try not to make this too many steps. One of my original thoughts was she's going to have to delve the depths of a derelict, but I don't think so, because she's not going to be able to go into it like with Farpoint and sneak around. She's got to go to Bandit and ask him a question, right? In Farpoint, we were hiding from their security forces, sneaking into places, stealing stuff, and running out before they caught us. But here, she's got to actually talk to Bandit and get him to reason with her, so she's going to have to go in somewhat openly. Now, one of the complications we have is that this faction and this faction are allied, and these guys hate her and probably have a price on her head at this point. So Chris is going to have to do something to avoid getting into trouble with these guys, and I think this means she's going to have to set up her ship with a different transponder and give a different name and probably disguise herself. So I feel like all of this together is securing advantage with stealth, right? She's going to come up with, she can change her hair and, get rid of her signature goggles and wear a different jacket, pick a different jacket up from her locker, and she's got Dagger with her, and so they can pretend to be a different, pair, and she's going to come up with a different call sign. So let's randomly roll a call sign. So she's going to fake give the call sign quick draw. So she's going to go around with, she's going to double holster. On one holster, she's going to have her slug thrower, and the other holster, she's going to have her stun gun. And instead of her data scanner, she'll just leave that back on the ship. And she's going to call herself quick draw and try to convince Dagger to do that. So she's going to call herself quick draw, and she's going to change the transponder of her ship to use a different name. So let's come up with a new name for the starship. She's going to call it the Corellis 9, right? So she is going to call herself quick draw, right? And she's going to, I just want to, sort of mark this down so I don't forget. She's going to claim that the name of the storm swept is the Corellis, I guess, 9. And that's what she's going to tell them, right? So she's flying into the system, and she's going to sort of disguise herself and try to fix up her starship. The other thing I do want to ask, while she's doing all this, she's going to look out the windows, and she's going to pull out her Ophion pendant, right? And she's going to ask, we're going to ask, does this light it up? Now remember, in this box, there's a small chance. So is the next star on the star chart this Pila Theta? Small chance. And we get no. So it's not. So then she puts it back in her shirt and she changes clothes. So, you know, if we look at like the way the character looks, we view her artwork, right? She's going to wear a light jacket, maybe change her pants a little bit, change her boots, um, and she's going to have double holsters, and she's going to wear her hair down instead of in a braid and take the goggles off so she looks different, right? And she's got Dagger with her, and she's actually going to have Dagger talk to them. We don't get any bonuses for that because Dagger's an explorer and communication is not her forte. But what they're going to do is they're going to try and sort of disguise the ship, disguise themselves enough that they won't know that this is her. So this is securing an advantage, and we have momentum, so we might be able to do this, and we're rolling Shadow. We don't get any bonuses here. Let's see how we do. We get a weak hit, we succeed. And we can take +1 on our next move, which I think is fine. We don't need a strong hit. We don't need the momentum, right? Because all the momentum will do is let us do both. We don't need, we could burn it and bring it back up to 4, but why not keep it and just take +1 on our next move? So they succeed. She changes the transponder, and she looks, Dagger's like, wow, you look totally different. And Krista says, okay, you can talk to these guys because you're not wanted by the Shattered Federation, and tell them your call sign and that you're with Quick Draw and that we're on and this is why I wrote it down, the Cerelis 9, the USS, the SS Cerelis 9, right? And so they call Utopia Station. And as they go in, actually, before they do that, Krista's going to monitor their transmissions. She's going to monitor she's not like hacking, right? But any place that's got radio signals and TV signals and anything like that, the emissions of those signals go out into space and you can monitor them, right? And so what she's going to do is she's going to monitor the transmissions, and she's going to try and find out more about these guys and about this faction so that she can, what she's going to say is we think we might want to join you guys, right? But she's got to learn a little bit more about them. So she's going to gather information, and we're rolling wits. And we get a miss or a strong hit. I think we'll burn the momentum here, right? And so let's remember on gather information, we get the information we want and +2 momentum before we do the story clue. So let's take a look at the faction, the Risen Watchers, right? We know that they have a prophesied leader. Some of these quirks I rolled up last session, I figure I'll leave them. They conceal individual identities, so they go by call signs, and they have a signature weapon, which is a double vibro blade. And he is haunted by a dark prophecy that he will be slain by a practitioner of Ver-Upai, which is a long-dead martial art, only known to precursor civilizations, and that their defenses are overextended. So let me think about what she learns all this, and they have this prophecy leader, and she wants to join them, right? And let's say he's prophesied, since they want to get wealth, to bring them great wealth. And so Chris is going to say she's a fortune hunter, right? So she says, let's say we're fortune hunters, that we managed to acquire this ship in a game of chance. Thinking Millennium Falcon here. And now that we have it, we have this big cargo hold, and we know that they're kind of overextended and they need more ships, and we feel like we can make money and we'll help them make money, and it's benefit to both sides. So they're going to call up the radio tower of Utopia with this story, right? This is Dagger with Jackpot, with Quick Draw. Oops. Right, well, this is Dagger with my friend Quick Draw, and we are on board the Cerelis 9, and this is a ship we've just acquired, and it's got a really big cargo hold, and we heard that you guys are overextended, and that you have a leader who is prophesied to bring great wealth, and we both want to get rich, and now that we have a ship, we figured we could bring it to you, and you guys can... you benefit from the cargo hold of our ship, and we can transport things, and we've got some defenses because we've got a gun on the ship, and we've even got a shields module. And Chris is like, don't tell him that. Too late, right? And we think that we could be a good fit, and we're both, on the wrong side of the law. So we think we would be a good fit in here. And so this is a compel move, and they are trying to lie, right? I mean, they're trying to charm, but they're also lying. And I don't think we get any bonuses here, so we got to hope to get lucky. So what do we get? A weak hit. So they'll do what you want, but their agreement comes with a demand or a complication. So we gain a momentum, and we figure out what is their counteroffer going to be. Right? And this is where I got stuck last time. It wasn't at this stage. It was later on after we landed. But I got sort of stuck on that. So what's their counteroffer going to be? If we think about the faction, right? Their defenses are overextended. So I think what they're going to say is, you have to agree that if we get attacked by anyone, your ship will join the defense. And if so, then we'll let you land here. And they agree to it, right? Krista agrees, or Dagger agrees to it. Dagger looks at Krista, and Krista nods and says, yeah, agree to it. And so she agrees to it. So if this place gets attacked at some point, and let's see, there's also a settlement trouble. It's an impassable route. Okay, so I think they're going to say, we've lost some ships in the drift to somewhere else. I don't know what the location's going to be. We'll figure that out. And you're going to have to agree that the next time we send a shipment there or bring a shipment back, you'll escort, right? I think that's what they're going to ask. And Krista says, okay, we'll do that. She's lying. She might never help. But so let's figure out what is the place? Is it a settlement? Is it a planet? I think it would either be a settlement or a planet. So, because it might be a planet with resources. So let's ask, is it a settlement that they want to get to? No, so it's a planet. So it's the planet. Where's planets? So what type of planet is it? So they want to get to the ice world of, well, do they want to get to Nyx? That's not an impassable route, right? But maybe they don't know this drift. Ooh, yes, I like this. So they say, well, we're trying to get to Nyx, and the drift that we knew of closed. But you've just gotten here. Do you have a way to get there? And Krista says, yes. So what she's going to do is, I think this makes the most sense. She says, we will transmit the drift passage from here to Cinder, and then you should be able to get from Cinder to Nyx using the public drift. And I think this is enough for them to agree, right? They're trying to get to Nyx. They had an impassable route, and Krista is going to give them her data, right? And so now they have the route here, and they already know the route from Cinder to Nyx because that's a known drift passage, right? So I think that helps them. She gives them the coordinates, the navigation or astrogation data where they could then drift passage to Nyx. Now, why they're trying to go to Nyx, who knows? But I think that's enough for her to land. So she's now succeeded on the shadow, right? So she's going to land in what they think is the SS Cerellus 9, and she's quick draw, and she's with Dagger. And so what I'm picturing for this thing is actually It's sprawling or dispersed structures. I think this is like a series of domes. If you've ever played the video game Planet Base, which by the way used to be a really fun game, I don't know if it's still out, but yeah, that was a really fun game. Or Surviving Mars, right, where they have these domes, and then you connect the domes by these like tubes of passageway. So I picture these. This is a desert world, so it's probably a very hot sun. So these are tinted domes where you can sort of see out, but it's like sunglasses, right? So it's tinted, and it's a series of domes sprawling out with a central dome in the middle, and then a series of domes going out to the sides. And one of the domes is larger, is not as big as the central dome, but is larger, and off to the side, like way out, and that's where the spaceport is. And you land there, and they open it, and you land there, and then they close it immediately because there's a hostile environment. And then they have gangways that attach to your airlock, and then you head out of the ship that way. So they enter the hangar, the spaceport. The dome closes above them. They land, and then they get out. And they don't need environmental suits here because of the protection, of the domes. And so they walk through the gangway, sort of like the jetway type, which is sealed to their airlock, and they get into the next dome, much smaller, which is the receiving section where the dockmaster is, and so on and so forth. And so Krista shows up, and there's going to be a few people here, and she arrives, and she says, "Hello, I'm Quickdraw, and this is Dagger, and we just came in and gave you guys. We're the ones who just gave you the drift passage navigation data for getting to Nyx." And so they say, "Okay, yes, you were allowed to land, and you wanted to join up with us. And it sounds like you already have call signs. Remember, we don't tell each other anything but our call sign." And she says, "That's right, I'm Quickdraw, and this is Dagger." And so they sort of, get out the computer, and they sort of sign them in. And Krista says, "Actually, I heard that you guys had an amazing leader that was simply called the Bandit, and I'm dying to meet him. And I have some things I'd like to ask him, and I think I have some information that he might like. Is there any way I can meet your leader?" I think this is a compel move using charm. She actually wants to meet the Bandit. So we'll roll hard. And we get a weak hit. They'll do what we want, but it comes with a complication, or we can burn it to a strong hit. We get +1 momentum either way. Let's go ahead and do a weak hit. So what are they going to ask of her? Are they going to make her turn over her weapons? Right? They see that she's got a weapon. She's got 2 guns. She's named Quickdraw. I think that's likely. I think it's likely they're going to ask her to turn over her weapons. No, we roll 100. So they're not going to ask her to turn over her weapons. So what are they going to ask her to do? Whoops. Oh, I messed that up. Hang on. So what are they going to ask her to do? This is where I got stuck last time because, I probably shouldn't have asked the Oracle there. I should have just said, yeah, turn over your weapons. But let's see. Let's roll action and theme and just see if it gives me an idea. Command, pride. Okay. I think they're going to say she has to swear an oath to join them. Like you can see him after you join us, and in order to join us, you have to go through a ceremony and swear an oath. And so you're going to need to do that first. So what they do is they set her up with in the the living quarters dome, right? They set them up with a bunk. It's 2 bunk beds, and it's a small room. And they give her they tell her where to go. They give her a map. A data pad on a data pad. They give her a small data pad. It's got a map. Tells her where to go. And they say, yeah, we're going to need to do some checking. We're going to need to look up data on the Cerelis 9 to make sure that your story checks out. And we're going to need to look up your call signs and make sure your stories check out. And then we'll, if that all checks out, we'll bring you in, and you can. When you take your oath to join us, you'll meet Bandit. So they head through the next sort of tunnel, and they end up in the living quarters. And what does it look like here? I mean, is it run down? Let's just see. organism, mechanical organism. Okay, so what they find is that although there are what, hundreds, right? Aren't there hundreds of people here? There are also a lot of robots. They see a lot of, and now by the robots, I don't mean like bipedal C-3PO. These are more like things on tractors that are carrying stuff around. I'm really getting a planet-based vibe here when you first colonize the planet on Planet Base, and also on Surviving Mars. You have robots that you're sort of ordering around, and they're picking up stuff and they're building stuff. And so you see all of these sort of labor bots kind of moving around this area, and um, and they don't really pay any attention to Krista and Dagger. And Krista says, I wonder if we get into trouble, if we might be able to reprogram some of these things to help us. And Dagger says, what, you want to do that right now? And Krista's like, no, but just something to think about. So they head to wherever there's sort of a building in here, just a square block of metal, and there are people coming in and out, and Krista says hello to them, and they say, we're new here, and how do we get to this room? Oh, it's on the second floor. And so they get to their bunk, and Krista says, okay, I don't want to leave anything here, so just let's just wait until the appointed time to meet everyone and take our oath of joining these guys. And Dagger's like, you're not going to really join them, right? And Chris is like, of course not. These guys are allies of the Shattered Federation, and the Shattered Federation probably wants me dead. Now, I do want to point out, since we're sort of sharing, not crisis, but sharing a stressful situation with Mina, I believe we get some progress with her as our contact. And Krista says, let's just sort of wander around here and see what we can find out. I think I saw a market down below, and let's just go and see if we can buy some food and just meet some people and chat them up and see what we can learn about this place. So I think this is securing an advantage with sociability, right? They're gonna go down and they're gonna buy some food from the food mart, and maybe they'll buy a patch that can be sewn onto their jackets or stuck onto their jackets with the logo of the Risen Watchers. And so it's like an eye with an arrow behind it or something. And so they buy the patches to put on their jackets, and that sort of thing. And as they do, they'll just sort of chat up the vendors. And so how long have you been here? Why are you part of this group? We're thinking of we're planning to join. We're going to be taking our oath later today at the ceremony, and so on. And let's just see if they learn anything useful about these guys that they could maybe use in their when they're going to take their oath and talk to them. So let's roll heart. I don't think we get any bonuses here. And we get a miss. So our assumptions betray us. So I think that so what do we know about these Risen Watchers? So let me think about this. Could it be that Bandit's not all that popular right now? And when they're talking about wanting to meet Bandit and being friendly with him, they end up getting a bunch of angry stares and glares. I think that's likely. In fact, I'm not even going to roll that. I'm going to say Bandit's actually not super popular with these guys right now. That these guys are supposed to be busy building wealth. But Bandit came back with some sort of a vision from Orcus, and he's like almost like turning a religious fanatic, and even though he's prophesied to bring them great wealth, he's not actually brought them any great wealth, and he's ended up overextending them through the stars. Maybe he's got them searching, right? He's got them searching, and I'm going to change this from defenses to just resources are overextended, because he's got them searching the stars for some means of defense against Ver-Upai, right? Which is only going to help him. The rest of the organization is not being helped by this. And so they get a bunch of angry stares when they talk about wanting to meet Bandit and being loyal to him and so on. And so let me look through, pay the price to see what the right price is to quantify that. Okay, so I think what may happen, signs of a looming threat. I think as part of the conversation, I think while Chris is talking to somebody, right? Zephyr's listening to another conversation, or not Zephyr, Dagger's listening to another conversation, and as they walk back to their bunks with some, takeout food, Dagger says, "I think we have a problem," and Quick Draw says, "What's going on?" And well, let's get back to our room. And so get back to their room, and Dagger says, "Actually, Krista, I think," and she says, "Stop, call me Quick Draw." "Okay, Quick Draw. I think this bandit guy might be in trouble." And Krista says, "Yeah, I think so too. When I was chatting people up, they seemed like they were giving me the, I don't know, what do you want to call it? Some sort of an area. I want to say skunk eye, right? Because there aren't skunks out here, but they were giving me the Rontor eye." And Dagger says, "Well, I think I know why. I think they might be planning a coup against him sooner rather than later." And Krista says, "Well, look, we don't need to worry about that. As long as we can get the information we need from Bandit, I don't care what happens to him later." And Dagger says, "Yeah, but what if they decide to use the induction ceremony to assassinate him?" And Krista says, "Well, we've got our weapons and we can try to protect him. Or maybe they know where Orcus is. Like, all we need to do is find out where Orcus is." So I think we don't have any hackers here, right? If Mainframe were with us, I'd say let's try to hack into their system. But Chris is not really a hacker. I don't think she's going to try to hack into their system. I think she's going to wait. And they they relax and they talk and they plan things out. And, Dagger's got a stun gun and Chris has got both a stun gun and a slug thrower, right? The magnetic pistol. So they're armed and they make sure, Chris to make sure her gun's charged, her slug thrower's got all of its bullets in its clip. And, all they can do is be as ready as possible. I think, in fact, let's see, what was the last move we made? That was securing advantage. We're not going to secure another advantage. I was going to say we could scout out. Okay, no, I think I know. It's not escape. This is going to be gathering information. Chris is going to say, "Look, let's use the data pad here and find out where." Like they look up on the little hand data pad that they were given. Where's the ceremony where they're going to join, right? And where's the hangar and where are their living quarters? And they try to map out a possible escape route in case things go bad. If they do try to assassinate this guy, are they able to find one? And I don't think Mina as an explorer can help with this. We get a strong hit. So they discover a route that will lead them quickly through the least occupied domes back to the hangar, to the spaceport, if they get into trouble. So they will be able to set a course. All right. So we have to try to remember this. They can set a course to go back to their ship if they need to. We also get, in addition to this specific information, a story clue, which contradicts a previously understood fact or clue. So, does this mean Bandit is not going to be assassinated? I think so. I think it turns. I guess he's. So I guess Krista says, from what I can see on the data net here, I don't think these guys are going to assassinate him today. So I think we should be safe. And so I'm not actually going to have that event happen. I mean, we had the threat that was paying the price, and I was going to actually make it maybe happen during the ceremony. But because the story clue says we're contradicting a previously understood fact, I guess they're not as mad at him as she thought. Maybe they're more nervous about the situation, but they're not really angry enough to like have a coup or try to assassinate him. So they wait until the time of the ceremony to induct the new members. And are these guys the only members, or are there going to be some more members? I don't know. Are there other members? Let's say 50-50. Are there going to be other people being inducted? Yeah, it looks like it. So they head there, and there are, I don't know, how many other people? Let's roll a d4. There are 4 other people. So there are 6 people total that are now going to be inducted into the, what's the name of this thing again? I keep forgetting their name. The Risen Watchers. And so they go into the Central Dome, which is where all of the like conferences and meetings are held, and a lot of the like the archives of the place. Remember that these guys are for building wealth, so there's like a bank in here and everything. And did these guys have their own weave hub? I don't think so. They have just a weave annex, but that's all located in the central hub, in the central dome. And so they arrive, and if we look at Bandit, he's ill-equipped, and I think at this point, should he be ill-equipped to be a leader? I don't know. So he's a mercenary. He's a prophet. He's got this tattoo of an asteroid on his forehead, and he's wary. And so they meet in sort of a like equivalent of like a auditorium, and a master of ceremonies comes up and sort of introduces, here's what we're going to do today. We have 6 new members who are going to be taking their oath, and Bandit is going to swear them in. And then Bandit stands up and he gives a speech about the importance of finding this, where is it? Finding this guy who, finding a way to defend themselves against Vera Upai, and they have to be very careful about that. And that this is very important to them because if Vera Upai practitioners show up, there's no defense, not just for me, but for anybody, right? It's a powerful martial art. You think of these like Jedi Knights almost, right? And so then he says, okay, we're going to induct folks in, and then we will have a dinner afterwards. So there's going to be a meal outside. They've got sort of tables set up. So they bring everybody in, and they're going to ask them to take the oath. So now what has to happen is Krista's got to convince. She's got to convince them that she's honest when she takes this oath while she's holding her fingers behind, crossing her fingers behind her back, That's the old thing we used to do when we were kids. You'd hold your hand behind your back and cross your fingers, and then when you made your promise, but they didn't really mean it, as long as your fingers are crossed, it's not a real promise. So that's kind of what she's doing. So she's lying, and this is going to be Shadow, and she's taking the oath. So how does that work? We get a strong hit. So everybody believes her and Dagger. They don't notice Dagger sweating. Krista's fine. She's done this before. Dagger's not good at this. And I think because they're sharing this moment together, I think we increase the progress in our connection with Dagger. And after they're done, then they sit at a table, and they're going to sit at the head table with Bandit. And this gives Krista the opportunity to sort of chat with him. And so she makes Dagger sit like further away, and she tries to sit right next to him. And so he says, so you're one of the new ones. What was your call sign again? She says, quick draw. And he looks at her belt, and he says, yeah, I see you've got 2 guns. Are you as quick with both guns, left and right-handed? She says, yes, I can do 2-handed fighting. And so he says, well, we could use someone like you. And I heard you have a really nice ship. And she says, yes, my ship is called the Sorellus 9, and it's got a big cargo hold on it and so on. And so she's kind of explaining, oh, by the way, we need to fix this. This is from the previous session that I did. So we have found the merc named Bandit. And we need to get from him where Orcus is. So Krista says, yes, I've heard all of the prophecies. And she says, I see you have that brand on your forehead, and I've heard that you got it during a mission to rescue people, and you were the only survivor. Is that really true? That's amazing." And Bandit says, "Yes, that's what happened." And then what Chris is going to ask is, "So listen, I heard that where you guys were going was this legendary grave world of Orcus." And he instantly gets a little wary about this, right? Because he's a wary individual. And he says, "So, yes, that is where we were." And so as she's talking with him, she says, "Well, listen, I've done a lot of exploring myself. I've been to Nyx one, and I gave you guys the route there." "Oh, you're the one who gave us the route. I heard one of the new inductees did that." And she said, "Yes." And she says, I've been to Mira and Rec. I've been to Black Hole BHK1, and I've even encountered the gamma ray that's flying around this sector and managed to avoid it. And I've been to a whole bunch of other systems. I've been to Cinder and Carrion, and I've even gone into some precursor vaults." And she says, so she's telling him all of this to kind of prep. I think we're securing an advantage with sociability here. This is truthful. She's basically giving her resume of all the exploration she's done. And she doesn't mention Wellspring, right? Because that will lead her to Mainframe, and that would lead her to getting into trouble for, what she's done to these guys, right? And so what she's going to do is try to use this to ease him into it, to kind of giving her resume as an explorer, right? So this is sociability, to sort of help her get him to realize that he can tell her about ancient places, and she could maybe do something with it. I don't know if it's clear, but I think this makes sense. And so we're going to roll hard and see if we get an advantage. We get a weak hit, so she succeeds, and we'll take +1 on our next move. Because I think our next move is we're going to form a connection with this guy. So, what does he think of her? Does he want to become a connection with her? Is he impressed with this? And we get a strong hit. We create a connection, and we give him a roll. So let me work that out, and I will bring you back when I have it set up. All right, so this is the first time I've done this. I've made him extreme. I think it's going to take a really long time to turn this guy into a Bond because he's wary and indifferent, if you look at his stats. So I think we're going to skip this stuff about the frequently broken ship. I think he's got to repair technology to help the faction, and I think he is ill-equipped to be a leader. He's not a great leader, and I think it's because he is paranoid. I'm going to just write this aspect: paranoid about the alien martial artist who is prophesied to kill him. And so, yeah, he's pretty paranoid about that sort of thing. But we've managed to secure advantage and make a connection with this guy. And so now we're going to compel. And she is going to now try and say, so listen, you've been to Orcus, right? You may be the only person in this entire sector that's ever been there. I would love at some point to go and explore it. I would love to find my way there. As you've seen, I found my way to Nyx 1 when nobody else had a way to get there, and I found my way here when you guys didn't have a drift passage from Nyx. So is there any way you could let me know where Orcus is? I would be happy to try to find my way there and see what's there. What's going to happen? Well, let's see. I guess we're rolling hard. And we get a weak hit, but we can burn it to a strong hit. Let's do it. Why did that not work? Burn. There we go. So we get a strong hit. Gets +1 momentum. He's going to agree to it. he says, well, listen, given where you've been, I don't see any reason not to give it to you. I would tell you don't go. Nobody I know survived it, and I saw terrible visions. And now I'm being hunted by these, what are they called? Veru Pai martial artists. And Chris is not paying attention. She's like, that doesn't even exist anymore, right? She says, well, as I said, I've been to a lot of places, and I've been to precursor vaults, and I'm a bit of a lore hunter, so I think I would like to check it out. And he says, well, that's up to you. As a member of this faction now, he says you're going to have to share 30% of your profits with us. So if you find anything, you're going to need to let us know. And if you do get a drift passage there, you're going to have to send it back to us so that we can get there if we want to, even though we probably won't want to go there, right? In other words, you have to share your data with us. You have to share your credits with us. Whatever you get, we're entitled to 30%. And Krista, puts her fingers behind her back and crosses her fingers and says, sure, no problem. Now, we're not going to worry about this too much because we burned momentum on this, and he didn't, even though he's sort of asking us for stuff, we didn't really need to agree to it or swear a vow or anything like that. So she's going to say to him, so where is it? What sector is it in? Is it in this sector? And I don't know the answer to that. Well, let's ask the Oracle. I think it's unlikely. Is it in this sector? No. So it's somewhere outside of here. So what we're going to do is let's roll it up. Let's go to the alpha cluster. And what sector is it in? It is in the 11th sector. So it's 2 sectors away. So it's over here. So let me set that up, and I will bring you back. Wait, let's roll for it. Let's see what's the name of it. So let's bring Krista back up. And sector name, prefix, suffix. So the sector is called the Bloodied Breach. I don't know if you want to go there. It's called the Bloodied Breach, he says. So I'll bring you back once I've got this sector set up. All right, so Bloodied Breach is down here. So Chris is going to have to go to the tip of Kronos Tide and then fly to here through the drift. This is going to be a long drift. This is going to be a very long journey. So we're going to have to go through one of these sectors as we go. In the Bloodied, so I'll make that up off screen, but in the Bloodied Breach, right, where is Orcus? Now it's not here. What I'm doing is I put it at the exact center. And then there are, in terms of distance, we're 9 from the edges, and we're 12 from all corners, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to roll like a d10, and if we get a 10, it'll just be at the edge, and a d6 to see in what direction are we going to go. So, well, first of all, is it at the exact center? I think that's unlikely, but let's roll it and just see. So let's ask the Oracle, and is it at the exact center? No. So then what we're going to do is we're going to say, in what direction do we go? Rolling a d6, we're going to start with this one and go clockwise, right? Starting at the upper right. 2. 1, 2. So it's going straight east. So there's only 9 hexes in here, so we're going to roll d8, I guess. How far out is it? It won't be on the very edge. 6 away. 1, 2, 3. Wait, let me just move it. So this is where Orcus is. So we can actually, let me bring Krista back here. So in terms of progress, he has told you the sector and like where in the sector it is. So now we have to travel to Orcus, which is going to be a really difficult journey. So if we go back to the alpha cluster, since it's on this side, I think she's going to be better off going into sector 4. So let's see, what is that one called? And that sector is called the Burning Gyre. So let me set that up and I'll bring you back. All right, so what Chris is going to have to do is travel to Wellspring, which is down here, in a single shot. Then she's going to have to go through the Burning Gyre, like to here, and then straight down. So this is going to be a formidable journey, right? And if we look at the Bloodied Breach, right, she's going to have to do, like, say, 3 waypoints here, and then 3 or 4 waypoints above. And so we will do that in the next episode, which is going to happen after I return from my vacation. I will set up a Bloodied Breach sector like this. It's going to be empty. So this is pretty cool. We know a lot about Kronos Tide now, right? But we don't know anything about these other sectors except where Orcus is. So Krista is going to say, going to thank him and everything, and they'll, finish their dinner and go back to their bunks. And then she's going to say first thing in the morning to Dagger, let's get out of here. And so they're going to head back to the hangar, and they're going to leave. So I think what we're going to do here is, I think we're going to set a course for leaving. And the idea is, are they going to be able to leave without, are they going to be able to leave without being interfered with? And I think we'll just set a course and see if that's true. We get a weak hit, so there's a complication. So I think what happens is, let's actually, I hate it, but let's lose the momentum. I think what's going to happen is there are some kind of guards, and they're not sure if they have permission to leave or not, and they don't want to get into it. So they wait for the guards to, like, change shifts or whatever, and they kind of sneak out. And then when nobody's around, then they fire up their ship and they leave. And so so this takes them a while and it delays them, and then they're going to have to head into the drift, and they're going to head back to Wellspring. But we will do that in the next episode. And since this is all charted for us, this is going to be a single move, and then she'll move into the next sector. Until next time, guys, I am Scrapperlock, and this has been Starforged Alpha Cluster.